Communicating recommendations. So this is the final step in this process. So you've been asked to look at something, you've been asked to undertake an audit, whether it's mountain bike trails, whether it's the state of current urban cycling infrastructure. You have to produce something. Now, this work request will have some specifics. This is obviously important, and you need to make a recommendation. So the recommendation might be that everything's fine, continue as normal, or it might be, well, there's a lot of work to do, and here's what it is. So let's look at what have you been asked to do. This is really important. It's important that we meet some specifics of our task. A lot of the time, when people don't meet specifics of the task, they fail. They mightn't be asked to do that particular job again, or they might be shown the door and say, well, you didn't really do what we asked, so that was a complete waste of time on your behalf. Now, have a look at the specifics of the task. Really delve deep into that. What exactly are they asking you to do? Is it to make a judgment based upon criteria or an evaluation? Now, you need to look back at that and make sure that that's clearly understood. So whether you're looking at maintaining sustainable mountain bike trails, or whether you're looking at urban cycling infrastructure, that's really important that you understand exactly what you need to do. So the next part is obviously the evaluation. You've undertaken your evaluation. The previous video in the module 3 looked at evaluating based upon a specific criteria. That's really important. You need to be clear, specific, and relate that back to the evidence. What does the evidence show? Okay, the next one, formulating your recommendations. So in an ideal world, what would the urban cycling infrastructure in Port Macquarie look like? What would sustainable mountain bike trails at Wayne Richards Park looks like? Relate it back to the criteria. So if it's the criteria for the sustainable mountain bike trails, look at the 11 criteria points. Look at those 11 principles. If it's the urban cycling infrastructure, what would be perfect, but also what would be realistic? That's really important. Make sure that your recommendations are realistic, that they're achievable goals that a government might actually like to hear. If you have outlandish, ridiculous things, they'll just say, well, that's great, nice thinking, but hey, we're here in the real world, come and join it sometime. You need to relate it back to the improvements back to the specific criteria. You need to identify specific areas or components that require improvement. So in this case, relate it back to your data, your information. Have sources of information that are clear, easy to understand, that can be acted upon. So it might be maps, it might be annotated field sketches, it might be a list or of objectives or a checklist. And all of these things need to be combined with clear and written statements. Okay, your report. So in this case, you've been asked to submit a written report. Geography reports or reports that we might write when we're looking at geography use both written, visual, video, or various communication forms to do this. No matter which form it takes, they need to have a clear structure, and you can use a similar structure for each of those ones. So you need to have an introduction, identifying the site that needs to be studied. Use written statements, maps, and photographs to do this. Place, location is vitally important. The second, so the current state. Where is it at when undertaking this evaluation? So you might be looking at current state of mountain bike trails. Identify, use clear and precise language to describe the current state or the state at which it was when you studied it. Incorporate that criteria. Use written and visual communication to do this. Maps, images, photographs, field data, other sources are essential. And then make some recommendations based upon your evaluation. Clear and specific recommendations. Lists or ordered recommendations can be effective, and that's the sort of thing that clients that you're actually working for will want to act upon. That gives them something to say, hey, we need to do this. This gives us a roadmap to get there, and we can actually use what these people have created for us. Great, let's employ them again. And of course, we always need a clear conclusion. That should be just provide a short summary. So again, you might want to provide just a quick overview of what you looked at, the studied, and your recommendations. And that might just be a short written statement. So to give you an example of what a conclusion is like, I'm going to give you one now. So thank you for watching the video on communicating recommendations. After watching this, you should have a clear understanding of what exactly you should include in a report, how it should be structured, what the client is looking for, and how to effectively communicate these recommendations based upon what you've been asked to do. Thank you for watching. So there's my conclusion. What did you think of it? If it wasn't so good, what would you do differently? How could you improve upon that conclusion? That's the sort of thing that I want you to be thinking. So remember, clear, precise, based upon information, based upon evidence, usable, and a roadmap to success. That's what our client will be looking for.